Gathered friends, welcome to Rated Exploited. Like and subscribe to empower the world of Matanui. Each gesture strengthens unity with the Bionicle. Now, let us delve into the lore of LEGO Technic. Anyone that knows me can relate or at least acknowledge my crippling anxiety. From when the first season of Digimon ended to my very first physical manifestation of a panic attack during my psychology class, where I learned that love and fear are truly the only emotions, a form I refer to as a polarized spectrum. Fear of potential loss can greatly impact anyone. I recall when Bionicle first ended. I bought the Tahu Stars figure at Target in 2010. Not long after, this place closed themselves. Let me tell you, they had the absolute best toy selection and extremely professional staff. They were better than Walmart or Meijer combined. I don't fully recall how I felt when it did finally come to a conclusion. It felt inevitable, as LEGO had severely reduced its advertising. Didn't even know they had sold Legoland around that time. Loss is something I wasn't fully aware of or dealing with at that point in my life. My primary focus was completing Eagle Scout. I remember filling out so much paperwork, it actually lowered my immune system and left me sick. LEGO had sold off Legoland only 5 years earlier, such a prominent part of their history. Despite moving on and picking up the bricks, I didn't progress with a mindset of abandoning Bionicle. I totally cherished what it had set me, and I knew the best way to preserve it was to pack my figures and safely store them. I transitioned between 3 houses before finally starting this YouTube channel and unpacking them for the first time. Since the debut in 2001, I could never look at action figures the same way again. But it all changed once LEGO introduced their Technic builds. Ever thankful I became within 5 years when LEGO announced a return, though $20 a figure was still beyond my budget. Where we are now, please let me elaborate on my anxiety. I search every day through shopping sites, looking at Bionicle figures, new and old for sale on the pre-owned aftermarket. Am I delusional that I feel that I'm seeing less and less each day? Is it becoming a rarity for figures to show up? I mention Bionicle to people in my age group, and they only know it by name. This past week, a friend of mine even asked, "Is Bionicle a LEGO product?" I responded with, "That's like asking if the Mustang is a Ford vehicle." When I'm online, I always gain the sensation that I need to go out of my way to find anything Bionicle related. I fully admit another contributor to this sensation has to be only having 3 friends within my small town, even into the toy line during its run. But I say to you, my fellow Bionicle fans, this is where my anxiety lies. I feel the majority of the world is forgetting this toy line and this masterpiece of LEGO. Matanui was saved and carried on to Bara Magna. Same with LEGO being revived and alive today in a whole new era. I truly want to build on optimism, and thankfully I have this channel to combat these fears. I must say, anytime you guys comment or I see a new update on Bionicle, even if the majority is a retrospect, that gives me so much relief into this anxiety. No pun intended, I didn't think I'd be chronologically recording all this, as we know is Takua's responsibility. But preserving it here as the Bionicle mechanic, Rokulai, I feel I can empower my own strength over my fear. Yes, I remain scared, especially when so many molds and pieces were retired once the toy line was concluded. According to Bionicle trivia, so little of those remain in production in the Technic line. I don't want this miraculous toy line to be reduced into parts people can't even identify as LEGO. That's why we have the internet. That's why we have each other. At times I wonder if us Bionicle fans are a minority. Another thing I've always felt is that Bionicle never did break into the mainstream, but I think it was just so exclusive, it never was comparable to anything else in the mainstream. I genuinely hope I'm wrong, and I'm just mistaken by the tunnel vision in this dump of a town as the lone fan treasuring it in this point of the world. A perspective brought to my attention is that the worst thing you can possibly do is to stay silent. And I'm glad this YouTube channel is the exact antithesis. I fully realize my role here on YouTube is a combatant to these fears. I find this struggle a challenge to end this video on a positive note. At the least, I want to express it with honesty, just my feelings and my impression. And as I mentioned before, I hope I'm entirely wrong about this. The one thing I cling to is maintenance to the Bionicle. Many among us want a revival of Bionicle in any capacity possible. I truly believe that can only happen with a form of a resurgence. Worst case scenario, never returning, but cherished, unforgotten.